Have you ever stopped and wondered, how did Tiger Woods become Tiger Woods? What I mean by that is, how did he learn to swing so well and play the game so well? There's a secret to it, and that's what I want to share with you now, because I've spent more than 3 decades of my life studying the swings of all the greats, and especially Tiger Woods. In fact, I've even spent so much time even learning how to swing like Tiger, and that's what you're going to learn in this program. And what's fascinating about it is that it's way simpler than anything else out there. You just have to learn it in a specific sequence. And what I mean by that is that there's a reason that Earl taught the game to Tiger from the green back. And that is because the way that you swing, grip, and release this club is the exact same that you do with this club. And that is why it's so important. In fact, it's a fundamental requirement to learn to swing the club properly to start at the green. And that's how this program works. And the reason for that is it's going to teach you how to control the club with these 2 fingers of your trail hand. That is vitally important if you want to swing like the greatest of all time. And once you understand how simple this is, you'll realize that you've just been making the game way harder than it really needs to be. If you look at Tiger's swing, it looks really, really simple. It's really efficient. But how does he make it look so simple? It's because he learned how to control the club with the smaller strokes first, and then he started working up from there. And that's exactly how this program works. You're going to start with putting. You're going to start with one hand only putting with your dominant hand. If you're a right-handed person, this lead hand, your left hand, doesn't really do much of anything in the golf swing, which is really contrarian to most golf instruction out there. But that's why Tiger's swing looks so much different than everybody else's. He's really using his right hand for everything. And in fact, he says that very thing.
Undercutting it a little bit, especially my right hand. I connect the whole shot with my right hand. So my father taught me that it's the closest hand you should feel it with is your right hand. Obviously, it's closest to the club face. And so I'll get a lot of my feel in my right hand.
Tiger associates all shots with his trail hand, with his right hand, because that's how Earl taught him to play. He believed that the hand that was closest to the club face is the one that should be in control of the golf swing. Now, most golf instruction and most great golfers, Bobby Jones, Lee Trevino, Ben Hogan, they all said the opposite. Hogan wanted 3 right hands at the bottom, but he didn't want you to use it anywhere else in the swing. What you're going to learn, that's why Hogan's swing looks nothing like Tiger's. Tiger's swing is truly dominant hand oriented. If you're right-handed, your right hand is going to be what's controlling the entire stroke. And that's why it's so much faster and easier to learn this way, because you already know how to use this hand. This hand, for most people, it's really difficult to train. It takes a lot of time. With this program, you're going to rapidly improve every single aspect of your game incredibly fast, because you're going to be using the hand that's already incredibly coordinated. You've been training it your entire life. You already know how to use it. You just have to learn how to use it correctly. And there's one thing I want to share with you that's going to help you throughout this entire program and help you pick this up super fast, and that is what I call the GOAT arm. Let me explain. What makes Tiger's swing so repeatable and makes him such a consistent ball striker is the way that the trail arm, his right arm, and hand and body work together. The way that these are oriented is a little bit counterintuitive at first. So it's going to feel a little bit strange. And that's another reason it's so important to start with this club first. Because if you can't do this swing at 5 miles an hour, you're certainly not going to be able to do it at 100 miles an hour. So the first thing that you've got to understand is that this trail arm has got to be what we call supinated. Your elbow pit needs to be oriented out away from you. Most golfers set up this way. What you're going to find as soon as you do this is the club's going to want to go inside, your arm's going to fold early, and then you're going to have all sorts of problems. It's going to be darn near impossible to consistently square that face. You're going to be relying too much on timing. Tiger's swing takes almost all the timing completely out of the stroke, and let me show you how. So once you have this arm supinated, and you're going to do this with every club in the bag, your putter, pitching, chipping, wedge play, all of it, it's all the same. Every single stroke is no different than what you're doing in the putting stroke. They just get a little bit bigger. But what you're going to learn with your putting movement is that the orientation of this elbow pit facing out away from you and the stronger trail hand grip that you're going to learn is what's going to allow the club face to hinge back, or the wrist to hinge back, and be able to hit with your trail hand and keep the club face square. When your arm is like this, you can see how immediately my arm is free from the movement of my body, and then the club face wants to change as I'm going through the stroke. What makes Tiger so great is the ability to consistently hit the ball in the center of the face and get the ball to launch on the same line with the same spin rate, same trajectory every single time. That is all done through the orientation of this trail arm. So what you're going to want to feel as you go through this program is get this arm supinated. That's just external rotation. So if you held your thumb up like this, this is pronation or internal rotation. We don't want that. We want supination or external rotation. And once you have this feeling, you're going to feel it kind of locks your shoulder blade and your arm down into your body a little bit more. It gets you an instant sense of connection. And then as I take my grip, now obviously my hand's not going to be this strong, but I still want the right hand to be much stronger than most golfers who are like this, because now you're again having to time that club face. What I want to do is have this arm supinated, and then all I have to do is hinge my wrist back and hinge it and let it unhinge as I hit with my trail hand. Now you can see from up the line that my putter face is always dead square through the hitting area, and it's releasing square. As soon as I start doing this, all bets are off. So as you're working through this program, learning how to keep this arm supinated, which will feel very strange at first, but you can see this is exactly what Tiger does in his setup, and throughout his whole swing, he gets in what we call GDP, or the goat delivery position. The goat delivery position is what all great players do. Even though they may not have started out that way at address, Tiger just made his life easier by starting out that way. Many golfers set up with their arms like this, but they still get into this goat delivery position, which is the next video you'll watch in this series to help you understand how to orient this arm and in relationship to your body so that the club face squares very easily every single time. You will never fight the ball slicing off the planet again once you learn how to do this correctly. If anything, you'll be fighting the ball going left because you'll have a tendency to want to pronate your arm because you needed to do that in your old golf swing because you needed to do that to square the face. Tiger's taken all that out of the equation. The club face is already square. You don't have to do anything. In fact, all you have to do is not pronate and the club face is squared up for you. This same motion is exactly the same in the driver. As I'm coming through, I'm getting into this GDP position and my club face is already square. All I have to do from here is let it release. And that's really more of an unhinging. Now the wrist is deviating and more on, we'll get more into the details of that later on. But once you get the feeling of this being oriented out away from you and your wrist, your right hand having a strong enough grip where this line is going up your forearm, the club face is already square. And then all you're doing is learning how to release it from there. And this program is going to teach you how to do that, where you learn how to hit the ball dead straight on your starting line every single time. And you'll be shocked at how easy it is once you use this GDP position. So in the next video, I'm going to walk you through this goat delivery position, show you how the greats use it, and then we're going to dive right into the program. You're going to start putting. You're going to learn how to use your trail hand and this GDP, this goat arm, to be wildly consistent, and it's going to happen in just a few hundred repetitions.